Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 20 of What If Naruto Had the 6-Eye Sharingan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other What Ifs over the other channels. I post a brand new movie of Naruto being the most feared vigilante in the My Hero Academia universe over an Anime Prince. Over Anime King, I post a brand new movie of what if Naruto was kicked out of Konoha and took over the Elemental Nation, so go ahead, check out that and enjoy guys. More what ifs on their way, so don't forget to turn on the bell notification and see exactly when I post, because I do post a lot. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. So the last spot we left off, Tsunade found herself in an unknown location. The last thing she remembered was standing on top of the building, facing off against Pain, who had came to the village. However, she saw Naruto. Tsunade was taken aback, not expecting to see him of all people here. As it turns out that they were in her mind, her subconscious. She was confused how this was even happening, as Naruto told her that he stored his chakra inside of her when they talk. She was confused by that. That was not possible. However, Naruto once again reminded her that he was able to trick the Hyuga eyes, showing how in depth he had when it comes to chakra. And he couldn't have done it without some sort of seal. As he pointed upwards, Tsunade realized that he placed his chakra inside of her seal, but that she would have noticed. But he told her unless he tricked her seal into believing that it was her chakra, he was able to simulate the mental differences and break them apart and make her seal think that it was her chakra. So with that said and done, Tsunade's eyes took on the shape of the 5 Totem Sharingan. Mito was confused by that, not understanding what was going on. However, as the control Tsunade turned towards Mito and told her that everything will be fine, Nagato was about to protest as he realized that he was the one, but it was too late. Naruto was able to lock onto the signal that Nagato was using to control his path, and then he was able to yank on it, yanking Nagato all of his paths out of the village. He then grabbed onto Mito and flew. Mito was shocked as she realized it was Naruto. She also was brought into the mindscape as Naruto told her that this was not time for them to talk. What was important now is that she defeated Pain, as he believed in her. He then sent information into her mind on Pain's ability. Itachi was the one that was there when Jiraiya was fighting Pain, and Itachi saw everything. Therefore, now Mito knew everything. Without that, she would have been screwed, because Pain had not caused enough damage in the village to use all of his abilities so far, so they did not know. Arriving towards the area, Tsunade retake control of her body as Naruto chakra faded out. Well, that he let them thought. As Tsunade created a clone and left the clone behind to watch, just in case anything happened, as she rushed into the village, sending her envoys here to watch over Mito and engage if necessary, while she retake control back over the village and gather her forces. Mito faced off against Pain. The battle that followed was a brutal one. Mito utilized her Sage Mode and her chains, showing how skilled and powerful she had become, as she was able to outpace all of the Pains as she moved. The bodies were not as strong as the original after all, and now that she knew all of their secrets, she was able to fight them on equal terms, destroying one after another, getting rid of the revival path so he would not summon and revive the others. She destroyed the absorption path with her Fox Punch. Pain was angry about this as he was losing so quickly. It was down to one path that was remaining. While that was going on though, Naruto was inside of her mindscape, pushing some of his chakra in here in the seal as he talked to the fox. Being the most powerful of the Biju, Naruto wanted to make a deal with him. There was something that was coming and he needed the fox's help to face off against this incoming threat. The fox was angry at first until Naruto told him that he could free him. That got his attention. Back out in the outside world, Mito was left with Tendo. She used 4 clones as she trapped the both of them inside of a box full of chains. She was able to counter his almighty push, taking on the Brown Force before she destroyed him with her Rasengan. As she won. She was now free and she won. The Anvus that were sent there were shocked, as the girl had single-handedly defeated the threat that was intending on plundering Konoha into nothing. But she wanted to go alone, so she did. However, Zetsu had struck at that moment when Tendo used the almighty push. He took over Konan's body, using the white Zetsu to try and restrain her, before he stabbed Nagato. He then went on Nagato's body, knowing that he was weak and bleeding. Releasing his hand, he blew Konan away with the almighty push. He then brought his hands up together and used the Rinnegan ability to revive someone. Konan was knocked out as she was blasted through several trees, her head slamming hard. It was unexpected and something that neither of them expected to happen. When Mito arrived at the scene, she was confused, not expecting this in the slightest as she saw the unconscious body of the girl. The Anvu came and took her away as she made her way towards where the real pain was. But when she got there, he was hunched over, blood leaking down his face as she realized his eyes were gone. She was confused. What happened here, she thought. However, it was done, and she now had to go back to Konoha. Arriving there though, she was met with cheers. Everyone was there. She couldn't believe it. All of the people were there. They were calling out her name in happiness. She had lured the threat away and defeated it, as they all celebrated, cheering her on. We then had a time skip. Naruto had felt it as he opened his eyes. After manipulating his chakra from so far, he opened his eyes as he told Sasuke that Mito won. But he did not seem happy as Sasuke asked what was wrong, as Naruto told him that something happened. Pain did not have any eyes when they got there. Someone attacked him. The chakra that was used was nothing normal, as that kind of energy. Someone had been revived from the dead. Something was up. It was not like Naruto feared anyone of showing up to try and stop his plans, but he just did not like things out of his control. And he was right. Zetsu finally arrived towards the underground hideout, as a man was in the darkness talking. He even knew about the six-sided Sharingan. He finally stepped out to reveal none other than Madara Uchiha. Obito had failed, so it was now time that Madara took up the reins, as Zetsu handed him the Rinnegan. The man installed his eyes. A moment later, he was out, fully decked out in his gear. Madara Uchiha was back. The ghost was back to reap what he had sown in the past. So yeah guys, basically let's be left off. You guys can switch across the play, check it for yourself, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs coming your way. Yes guys, 4 channels, link in description. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. We begin this new episode at Konoha, where Ibiki Marino stepped out of the interrogation room. Waiting on the outside for him was Tsunade Senju. As she looked at the man, he went straight to business. She was very compliant, said Ibiki. Oh really now, said Tsunade, looking towards the man. It's almost like she's completely given up. Tsunade looked through the giant glass as she looked at the woman that was inside. Her name was Konan, a member of the Akatsuki. Tsunade could see her eyes, which looked completely dead, like there was nothing in this world for her to hold on to anymore. What did she say? Asked Tsunade, looking towards Ibiki. It seems like this threat is not over yet. She told me that they were working with someone else. Ibiki had a look on his face that made Tsunade second guess herself if she wanted to know who was this person. But she went on. Who is it? She asked. He claimed to be Madara Uchiha. For a moment everything froze, as Snevy was taken aback. She did not say anything or make a single movement. She heard stories from her grandfather, that being Hoshirama Senju. She heard stories from her granduncle about the legend that man was. However, it shouldn't be possible. How is he alive? Ibiki spoke once more. He claims to be Madara. However, she does not quite believe that it is so. She does not know if he is impersonating a man. Or maybe, he has indeed survived this long and lost a lot of his powers. But he's not as strong as he once was. Otherwise, he would have attacked all the villages directly for their tail pieces. Snevy had no doubt about that. The name Madara Uchiha still strikes fear in the hearts of many people across the Elemental Nation. His power was legendary. Not as strong as her grandfather though, but still. A man to be feared, a ruthless, wicked Uchiha. Damn it, she cursed in her mind. There was another Uchiha out there causing problems. She still did not know what Naruto and Sasuke wanted. What end they were playing to. They helped Konoha. They killed Danzo, which was a skirmish to this earth. Snevy knew that, even though the man had tried to keep a stellar reputation because most people did not know about his activities in the dark. However, Snevy knew that he was a scourge, a problem that her sensei failed to extinguish. So she did not mind his death by the hands of Naruto and Sasuke. But the village would not see it as how she saw it. The ones that did not know about his darkness activities. They saw him as the man that fought alongside Sarutobi Sensei to protect this village. They saw him as the man that risked his body to keep this village safe. They did not see him as a fiend that he truly was. So that is a problem that they had. However, to think that another Uchiha was out there, running around causing mayhem. They still had nothing on Itachi Uchiha either. She took a breath. What about the remaining members, she asked. Turns out that Itachi Uchiha is dead. And the others are dead as well. The only member that is left is this Madara. And a creature, half black, half white, known as Zetsu. Snevy raised the eyebrow at that. That is what she said, Ibiki said. And I don't think that she's lying one bit. As he glanced back towards the window to look at the woman. This was one of his easiest interrogation. She did not fight. She did not put up a hassle. She just told what she knew. Snevy sighed. It seems they had more problems out there. However, just like the others before, they will get rid of all of them. For now though, everything is safe. As she looked towards the woman, wondering what she should do with her. Time skip. Obito Uchiha was waiting. He was waiting for Zetsu to bring back the word that the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki had been captured after he had sent Pain to Konoha. He had other matters to attend to, like trying to find the missing Uchihas. He has been searching any known places that they might have been. However, he could not find them. There were several districts that were owned by the Uchihas outside of Konoha. He believed that they might have been hunkering down in one of those places, but they were nowhere to be seen. Now he was returning back to his hideout to see if Zetsu had returned and was waiting for him. Arriving towards the location, Obito did not know why, but he felt a sense of dread, as he felt like something was terribly wrong. He trusted his instincts very well. They had kept him alive all these years. So, just to be safe, he activates his intangibility as he walked towards the hideout, feeling more anxious the closer he got. As he walked deeper and deeper into the darkness, he felt more and more anxious. That is when he heard a voice that he never expected to hear ever again, because if it was up to him, he would not bring him back. I must say, I'm quite disappointed, Obito. And here I thought, when I once again stepped into the world of the living, you would be almost done with our quest. But it turns out, you've done nothing but fail. And fail you have, so badly. Obito was shocked, shaken. He was not prepared for this. Of all the people that he expected to see, This was not one of them on his list. Nowhere even close. The man finally emerged into the eyesight of Obito, as he was finally able to see his face, and the most shocking part was his eyes. How are you alive? Said Madara. I thought the original plan was to bring me back with Nagato eyes. He said, his tone sounded a bit condescending. Yes, said Obito, but how am I here now? Well, Zetsu saw it as fit to bring me back to help you with your little problems, if I must say. Obito cursed in his mind at Zetsu, as he still had no idea what happened for him to end up with those eyes. All shall be revealed later. But for now, tell me all you know about the 6-eye user. Obito raised the eyebrow at that. Moments later, as Obito was able to recollect all that he knew about the other Uchihas, which was not much at all. That is not enough information, but I suppose it will do. I still don't see why you have not reached out to them. They're fellow Uchihas after all. Madara shook his head in disappointment. You had to wait for me to rise from the dead to tell you that. Obito held his tongue as he did not say what he really wanted to say. It's not that easy. I've been searching for them, but you can't find them. It doesn't matter because I am back, Madara said. First things first. Zetsu told me that the 8, the 2, and the 9 tails are the beast that remains, that are not yet captured by the other Uchihas. Correct. Obito nodded his head. Well then, let's get some leverage, shall we? Obito looked at him as Madara walked through the cave. Let's head to Kumo, he said. Time skip. On Rikyu Valley. That was the name where Killer Bee resides, as he was living on the top of the mountain there. It was in Kumo area, but not exactly within the village. This whole place was his. He was a very important person after all, the holder of the 8 tails to be exact. However, he was not alone. The 2-tailed kitten was with him. They were discussing a few things. Bee was not really paying attention that much, even though he was the one that she was talking to, as he just got a mad rhyme in his mind that he just had to put down on paper. She realized that he was barely paying attention. She was about to hit him until her ears twitched. Yujito, that was her name, holder of the 2 tails. She had heightened senses, so she was able to hear. Bee did not pick up on that as he was drumming his head up and down, bobbing to some invisible music that was playing. She picked herself up as Bee looked up towards her. However, he already reached for his pencil. She opened said door and moved outside. She looked down the hill as she walked towards the edge, not seeing anything, but she could swear that she heard something. That is when the world behind her seemed to rip open. Her quick reflex and quick thinking allowed her to escape as she flipped away, landing a distance away. She narrowed her gaze towards a man that simply melted out of the hole that he created in space and time. She's never seen a thing like that before, so she was surprised. Well, this is better than expected. 2 for the price of 1, Obito said. There was a smirk on his face. Despite the situation, at least things were finally playing in his favor. The guards that were guarding his place were long dead. They were no match for his Kamui. None at all. Who are you? Said Yujito, as her eyes fully take in what he was wearing. The Toad Sage Jiraiya had came here and warned them about the Akatsuki, a threat that is going around kidnapping tail beasts, killing the user as they did. So these guys, he was one of them. She growled, extending her nails to ridiculous lengths. Before she could make a move though, a pencil covered in lightning ripped right through the door. Obito, body went intangible. Said pencil split right through his head and simply kept on going. There was no harm done to him. Yujito was shocked by that as Killer Bee stepped out of his house. What's with all the fuss, he said. Can't you see I was about to write a mad bus Yujito looked at him. Most times his rapping did not make sense at all. Well, to him alone it seems. But this was not the time. B. This guy's with the Akatsuki, she said. Is that so? So the organization finally decided to leap and finally come after the 2 and 8 tails beasts. Well, today is your bad day because you walk right into a trap. My home step will be your very last tap, said B. B thought that Jaiki was about to bust his balls for rapping like that. However, that was not the case. Jaiki almost seems worried. What's wrong, Edo? B asks. Something is coming. Something far more powerful than that man in front of you. Boom! Something crash landed right on the mountain top. Always the one for dramatics, Madara Uchiha stepped out of the dust and debris. Well, would you look at this? 2 beasts to be tamed at once. You handle the woman, I'll handle the 8 tails, said Madara as he got a quick description from Zetsu, so he knew which one had the 8 tails. And he could also feel the power as well. But he was dying to test himself. He's been dead for some time now. And a battle, a rush, where he can feel his blood pumping is something that he was looking for. Excitement in his eyes. That face looked really familiar. B thought to himself. He then took a better look at said man as he couldn't believe it. That wasn't possible. This man was supposed to be a ghost. As Madara smirked as he unfolded his arms. Pumped for the battle to come, he rushed forward. His speed's unreal. B was caught off guard as the man appeared in front of him. A brutal kick smack across his face, launching him right off the mountaintop. While the fight was going on, flying across the sky was none other than the 7 tails holder. Well, no more. Her name was Fu. Naruto could spare someone's life after removing the tail beast. He gave her that option. Fu was someone that did not have many people in her life. She barely had friends, she had no family. And people in the village did not like her that much. Just the horrible life of a Jinchuriki. So when he came to end her life, to end it once and for all, she wasn't so bummed out about it. She had been alone for very long that she didn't see much that she could aspire now. She barely left her village. She was mostly kept there under strict watch. She was their weapon, trained since she was very young. However, he took one look at her and he gave her a proposition. Something that she just could not turn down. And she started over. Now she had a new life, working for Naruto-sama. Him and his brother Sasuke-sama was precious people to her. They did not see her as any kind of burden or weapon. They accepted her on their team. And she got new friends. Utikata, well, he did not talk much. Karin had become her friend. Gurren acted all tough, but she knew that she was a sweetheart on the inside. And Yukimaru, she liked to play with him. He was a sweet, kind child. She was sent for reconnaissance. Naruto-sama was busy with something else. That is why she was sent towards Kumo to find out about the 8 tails Jinchuriki. Attacking Kumo would be different, because that is exactly what he planned to do. If he was gonna get the 8 tails, he was basically attacking Kumo. Getting the other tail beasts were easy, but Kumo was a militarized powerhouse, second behind Konoha in terms of all-around power. Their leader was said to be a monster of a man. Naruto did not fear him or the tail beasts, but he knew that the forces there were larger than what they had to go up against so far, so he needed more information. While he was busy, as he was up to something, Fu was the one that was sent to scout over the area, her flight, allowing her great advantage. While Naruto could also fly, or hover if you call it that, Fu was better. Unlike Naruto who used the wind around him and his chakra, Fu was actually able to fly with wings. That is why it was better for her, as she stayed high up in the sky, although she could feel her oxygen being cut slim up here. She was so high. As Kumo was resonating up in the mountains, she flew over the village. Everything seemed to be calmed down low. As she scouted the area, she came across something, not exactly in the village, but a different sector of the village. Naruto-sama will have more reconnaissance done, but this was something she had to go and investigate. As she lowered herself to see a fight going on, the description of the Eight Tails was known by Naruto-sama, who told her about him. Dark skin, glasses, swords. There was no doubt about it, that was him, the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. But he was fighting someone. Fu lowered herself. The person looked so familiar. Being Taki weapon, they gave her extensive things to study and read, for her to know about the other nations, to make sure she was up to date with everything. Her mind was like a source of knowledge on all the other nations. But the moment she set eyes on that man, she knew who it was. He wasn't a normal man. But how was that possible? He was supposed to be dead. He could not be alive. Fu was shocked. Naruto-sama has informed her about the so-called Madara on the Akatsuki. Naruto-sama did not believe that he was actually the real Madara, someone just pretending to be him. But there was no doubt about it. That man. Madara snapped his gaze up towards the girl as he somehow sensed her. His eyes looking towards her. She saw those ripple patterns. She flew away at top speed as fast as she could go. As Madara crossed his arm as a gigantic tentacle slammed right into him, throwing him across. However, a big grin was on his face. He was enjoying himself. He was loving this. As Madara looked forward to see the gigantic eight-tailed beast, he could have gone full force and taken down the beast already, but he was enjoying himself too much. A tentacle came down and destroyed the area. However, Madara was already on said tentacle as he sped up it, moving at incredible speed. The eight-tail threw the tentacle trying to get him off. However, when he came back around, Madara was gone. The beast snapped its head upwards to see Madara in mid-air dive bombing down towards it. It lashed out with all of its tentacles as Madara dived and twists, dodging all of them before the Eight Tails threw a powerful fist forward. It was about to collide with Uchiha until his body moved in mid-air by itself. As he flipped over the punch and landed on the arm, he then proceeded to skid down said arm. The moment he was close enough, the Susanoo formed around him and a fist emerged. Boom! It slammed right into the face of the beast, throwing it back, knocking it right off the hill as it fell down into the creek. Madara flipped in mid-air as several black rods were formed. He launched them, they stabbed into the tails of the Eight Tail. The beast howled in pain and rage before holding his head up to the sky and creating a giant ball of death. It was a Biju bomb. Madara landed, his arms folded, a cocky, arrogant grin plastered on his face. He was not afraid, not in the slightest, as he watched the thing build the massive power in front of him. As it started to get larger and larger, Madara summoned his Susanoo. Only the upper half though, as it held out four arms. Megatamas, powerful blue Megatamas started to glow into the arms before Madara hurled them forward. The Biju fired the bomb. The attacks collided as the entire place shook rather violently as a bright light swallowed the entire place. As Madara stood there, unaffected as his hair was blown back, a wormhole opened behind him as Obito emerged. "I am done," he said. "What's taking so long?" Madara did not respond at first until he looked down towards the beast that was trying to get the rods free from its tentacles. He jumped off, ignoring Obito as he dive bombed towards the beast. As Obito simply shook his head. Moments later, Killer Bee was lying on his back. His eyes were closed as he was unconscious. As Madara stood over the Jinchuriki, an arrogant, smug smile on his face as usual. "That was a wonderful dance," he said, "but still not enough to get my blood pumping." "You disappoint me, Eight Tails," he said, as he did not have his fill. He expected more from the second strongest. After all, he could have subdued the beast with his eyes alone, but he did not do that because he wanted to have some fun. And yet, he did not get to have his fun. That is when he felt something and looked up. The sky seemed to tear open as a rift appeared. Unlike Obito's, this one was not a swirl, as a man stepped out of it, walking in mid-air like it was nothing. Madara looked towards the newcomer, who glanced down towards him. Slowly but surely the person descended down towards the earth. It was none other than Naruto Uchiha himself. Obito took a glance towards the younger Uchiha. As for Naruto, Fu had sent him a message, as Naruto had his chakra linked with all of them, all of his subordinates, so he could contact them. She just had to access it, as he placed a seal on her arm with his chakra inside. Therefore, when he met up with her halfway, she told him. He told her to go back. Naruto was busy doing something rather important, looking for the final piece of the puzzle before coming after the 8 and 2 tails. He sent Fu here to investigate. He's never really been to Kumo before, and he had no idea the exact layout or where the 8 tail and 2 tails are located. With her ability to fly, she was the best option for this place. He had sent Sasuke along to gather what he deemed to be the final thing that he needed. As he gently came down to the ground, now that he saw the two of them, especially the masked man himself, that Itachi had warned him about, he realized that the object that he needed was no longer being protected. But Fu was right though. As Naruto stepped forward, Madara turned to face him. Obito sucked the 8 tails up in his Kamui dimension. As he stood there behind Madara, like a small child watching two grown-up interact with one another, as he did not speak. Madara was the first one to say something. Just from the mere sight of you, I can guess that you're him, aren't you? The Uchiha that they're talking about. The one with the 6-eye Sharingan. Naruto looked at him. So you know about that, huh? More than many people. But not you, I suppose, said Madara. There was rumors, whispers amongst the clan through ages, that there was a faction. I thought it was, but it turns out that it was a fake. There was only a small percentage, maybe 1 or 2. I've only seen portraits, drawings of the eye. It is said that the person that possesses such eye has strength that is equal or rivaling a god itself. Strength that is untold, unwavering, unbound to the world itself, able to explore beyond the likes of any man has ever seen before. I've never seen them personally before, but I heard that the 6th eye is the ultimate. It doesn't matter if you are the 4 or 5. They did not break you apart from mankind, but the 6th eye does. But judging from your demeanor, I can tell that you've not reached that state yet, that you've not reached that level of enlightenment. It is said that in the past, there was a man, more like a god, that possessed the 6th eye. But he did not use his power to enslave or control mankind. Instead, he did not use them. Knowing the power that they wield, he tried to keep them away, out of the population, but it awoken again, throughout history. You know a lot for a dead man, said Naruto. Amusing, said Madara. But as you can see, I am here in the flesh. Blood racing, heart beating, flesh. I heard that you've been given my little apprentice over here some trouble. Obito scowled at that under his mask, but he said nothing. So, Uchiha and Naruto, why not us make a deal? I heard you have majority of the tail beasts under your control, and as you can see, we have 2. I believe that our goals can coexist with one another. Well, you're wrong, said Naruto. Whatever you want, it is not what I seek. Is that so? Would you mind enlightening me? I'm afraid not, said Naruto. Why tell your plans to a soon-to-be dead man? Once again, Madara laughed. a throaty laugh that echoed across the area. "I like you, boy," he said. "Absolutely no fear as you stand someone like me down. I can feel it. The Uchiha blood run deep in your veins. The pride, the battle. You will not turn down my offer. For me to take the tail beasts away from you." "Offer," said Naruto. "Exactly. It is rather easy. If you win, you take what I have. If I win, you hand over the remaining tail pieces." Naruto smirked, his glasses not showing his eyes. "And why would I do that? I have more than you, and besides, I now have what you seek to lock them away." Madara raised an eyebrow, as it clicked to him. "How did you find it?" he said. "It was quite easy. You don't understand what my eyes are truly capable of, so I will not bother going into details, but it is now mine." Obito finally realized what they were talking about. The statue, he thought to himself. "So that makes you connecting two tail pieces worthless. Tell you what, hand over the two other tail pieces to me, and I'll do what I intend to do in the beginning. And you return back to the grave, old man." Madara smirked at that. Youngsters these days, quite bold. "However, I was hoping that you would have said no. After all, my whole life, I wanted to see how I would stack up against these special 6-eye users. Not being able to be born of such greatness myself." "Come on now," said Naruto. "Don't downplay yourself. You are the legendary Uchiha, Madara, after all." "Yes, I suppose you're right," said Madara. Obito was not sure with the dialogue that was going on. They spoke like they've known one another for ages, and yet he was sure that this was the first time they were meeting one another. But there was just something that he seemed to lack that they have in terms of talking to one another. As Madara was not doubting himself in the slightest, he was just doing that for Naruto to stroke his ego. And Naruto had complied by calling him one of the greatest. "I knew that something was up when Nagato was found dead. But I never expected you of all people to be brought back. But it does not matter. This is a perfect opportunity." "For what?" said Madara. "For me to kill you both right here and now, and take what I desire." "Ah, bold of you to believe that you can actually win against me. But, as I said before, I was hoping that you would deny my request, so I can forcefully take it like I wanted to do," said Madara, as a vicious grin came on his face. "Let's see how this generation holds up against someone like me," he said as he dropped into a stance. "Shall we dance?" he asked. Naruto spread both of his arms out wide. "I'll give you the first shot, old man," he said. Madara was about to spring forward until countless ninjas could be seen coming across the horizon. However, the most violent and most powerful was none other than the Raikage, as he crash-landed a distance away. With blinding speed, he arrived on the scene. The Raikage eyes took in everything within seconds, and they blinked in shock when they saw the legendary Uchiha standing there. He saw the area was completely destroyed, but what frightened him the most was Madara Uchiha. But he did not see his brother anywhere. "Where is my brother?" he roared out in anger. Question sent towards both of them. Madara turned towards him. "Would you butt out?" he said. "This does not concern you." The Raikage lost it hearing that. How dare this man tell him to butt out? In his area, the place that he ruled. Rage surged around the man. His ninjas start to flock the entire place as they surround in a massive circle. Madara and Naruto did not even glance towards them anymore. Both Uchiha's eyes kept on each other as they realized the problem that was currently forming. Obito had sucked himself away in a swirling vortex as he decided not to take a part in this battle. There was nothing to fear. Madara was the one after all. However, Naruto was unafraid and was constantly mocking the man to show how much strong he was. Obito was not quite sure, but he was sure that his power had grown to frightening levels for him to think that it would be that easy for him to defeat Madara Uchiha. But he would have to see from where he was as he stood on a higher cliff looking down toward the scene. There was countless ninjas gathering and coming. The Raikage on the other hand lost his patience as he drove a right hook towards Madara's face as he appeared beside him in a second. Madara did not even look his way as Susanoo came up and blocked the attack, the arm outstretching as it slammed against Raikage's arm. Madara raised the eyebrow though as he felt the force behind that punch. The Raikage appeared behind and kicked it in the back, knocking it away. He did not stop as he blurred towards Naruto, intending on knocking Naruto's head clean off. He drove his fist forward at blinding speed, but Naruto simply tilted his head, able to keep up without much effort. The Raikage was surprised as he ground his heel into the ground and twisted his foot forward, a brutal kick that seemed to whip, tearing the air itself out of the sky. However, Naruto ducked as he stepped forward and placed his two fingers on the Raikage's chest. A force jolted the man's body and blew him away. The moment that happened, jutsus from all over rained down on Naruto. They rained down on him like a hurricane, only for Naruto to blink his eyes once and blue flames erupted around him in a circle, burning away all of those jutsus. As Madara stood there, watching that just happened a moment ago, it seems like our battle here will be interrupted. Our battle shall be glorious, on a wide empty field where we shall not be interrupted. Use those eyes of yours to find me in 3 days, and you better come prepared. I do not want to be disappointed. I want our battle to be something of the legends, Madara said, as he seemed quite happy. He did not seem to care about the tail beasts at the moment. He just seemed happy. He bent his knees as he flicked away, leaping as he used his gravity manipulation to float up where Obito was. It's time to go, he said. Obito glanced down towards Naruto, who still had not moved, surrounded by the ring of fire, before he spread out his Kamui and sucked himself away, along with Madara. The Raikage was back where he was, as he stood in front of that blue flames. I did not take your brother. Madara did. So if you want to hit someone, go and hit him. You are not leaving this place, the Raikage said. You will tell me everything you know. I'm afraid I don't have time to waste with you, said Naruto, as he turned his back before a wormhole split open. The Raikage blazed forward. However, as he was about to interact with Naruto, Naruto turned towards him. The man found himself hit by a force as he felt his cheeks bulge out. He felt his body being pushed back, but yet his insane physical abilities allow him to try and push through the force as Naruto expelled his chakra monstrously to try and blow the man back. The Raikage tried to push and push, his hand reaching out to grab Naruto, but Naruto simply walked right to the wormhole. The pressure subsided as the Raikage fell over. He drove his fist into the earth, destroying it with rage. Find them, he shouted. They couldn't have gotten too far. He believed that they were still anywhere in the vicinity. Was his ignorance talking, and his rage of losing his brother as well, and being disrespected on his own land. He was angry. He was livid. Time skip. Naruto reappeared as Sasuke was looking up at the giant statue. Madara could not summon this, as Sasuke's eyes would not allow it to happen. He had the Rinnegan as well as he was synced to the Gedo statue, mentally of course, as he looked up towards it, when the world behind him twisted and Naruto came out of it. It's Madara, said Naruto. So that's why you had to head off, Sasuke said, not sounding too surprised, knowing that it must have been something urgent. I knew that something powerful had been summoned, but I never expected to be him. He is back as he was in his prime. But it does not matter, said Naruto. In 3 days' time, I'll kill him. and we can get the other tail beasts. You will have to fight the masked man, the fake Madara. He's the one that has taken away the tail beasts with his Kamui. All I need is some of his chakra, and I can open a rift to his Kamui dimension, and I can track the tail beast's chakra from there, said Naruto unfazed. Ichigo had told him a lot about these eyes of theirs. Ichigo had access to all of the abilities. Well, he was the one with the 6 eyes. Naruto just have 5 at the moment. Ichigo was something that was born unnatural. A being that was so far above the pecking order that it was insane. His power was crazy. He could contact with the God Tree. The Tree of Life. It had many names, the Divine Tree. He could make contact with it, but he chose not to. However, unlike him, Naruto was not going to be a coward and hide. They were going to come eventually. All he was doing is making sure that he was ready to face them when they do come. And he was going to kill every last Otsutsuki. They would not target this planet as they did countless others. Naruto could go through all sorts of dimensions with his ability to rip through the space in between. He had came across scenes that showed planets that had been salt-dried. He had put it together rather easily. The Otsutsukis were a deadly force to be reckoned with. All these planets, every single one of them was gone. They were all dead. And that would be the fate of mankind if he did not do something about it. That is why they had to get as strong as possible, to be ready for the chaos that they were going to face very, very soon. They depict themselves to be gods, but even gods can die. Time skip. You want to go after the 9 tails? Obito said, looking towards Madara. Yes. Why waste time? Madara said, looking towards him. Getting the 9 tails ensured that when I defeat Naruto, I will get the others right away. Forcefully take them with my own hands. And then I will unite them all. There is no problem. Obito said nothing, as he knew that he could not face this man, especially the Rinnegan. But there was a problem. Madara was trying to take over. That is why he didn't want to revive him. He would have never revived him if it was up to him. However, Obito had a backup plan. Yes, he did. And that backup plan was waiting for him. It was a good thing that he had moved fast to secure this person on his side, knowing that the future might be worse hassling than he thought. And he was right. He will be the one to come out on top in the end. An idea popped into his head, but he did not say it. He did not tell Madara that the 9 tails Jinchuriki was close to the Uchiha in the past. Time skip. A day later, Konoha was resting peacefully. Pain attack was recent, and right now everything was calm. However, Tsunade sat in her office as she looked towards the letter. The Raikage called a summit. Yes, he was calling a Kage summit. 6 days. It will take them a while to get there, so he had supplement the time for that. The subject was the Akatsuki. What she read though, Madara Uchiha was alive. Tsunade was taken aback by this. She had spoken to Konan herself, as Tsunade see no reason to leave the woman in captivity. While she was still here, she was thinking of releasing her soon. The Hidden Rain still need a leader, and Konan had swore off the Akatsuki. They betrayed her. She wanted nothing to do with them, nothing at all. The problem now as it stood was, Konan did not believe that man that called himself Madara was the real deal. She believed that he was a fake. However, from this letter, Tsunade was now not sure what to think about this. This was bad. Worse than she could have ever expected. Damn it, she thought to herself, if this was indeed true, maybe he was Madara. If that was the case, did he regain his power? This was bad for all of them. However, the letter mentioned Uchihas, other Uchihas. She was baffled. She has seen Naruto as a man that was doing something for her. She did not know what reason, but He had not shown himself to be an evil person at all. So far, she could think of him as a vigilante of sorts. She was not sure what he was doing, but he did not show evil tendencies to go around slaughtering people for no God-known reason. He had saved the Kazekage life. He had saved this village by giving them information. Mito was the greatest part of that, but he did decide to help. So she was confused. But they were Uchihas. What if they joined forces together? This would be bad for all of them. She just had to go to that meeting to find out what the hell was going on. Boom! Snethy was cut off as an explosion rippled throughout the village. Snapping her head towards the window, Snethy turned to see a strange blue monstrosity with 4 arms, destroying buildings with a swing of each blade. Envoys quickly flocked into the office. What the hell is going on? We're being attacked. Kat said to her. Snethy frowned. Not this shit again, she thought to herself. Time skip. At the Hidden Stone, Oniki sat at his desk. The Akatsuki was a major problem. They had taken both of his tail pieces, even after he had placed the 5 tails in security. After a brief movement of the 5-tailed Jinchuriki, the group was attacked. Those that survived the attack had no idea who had attacked them. After all, they did not know them, but one of them were described as a girl with tan skin, green hair and orange eyes. The other one was a man, black hair, a creamy complexion, and he had a sort of bubble blower, a strange bubble flute thing. The other one was a woman that could produce crystals. They had overwhelmed the ninjas there, and they had fought with the 5-tailed Jinchuriki. They had knocked out Han and took him away. However, Han was found a few days later, alive. He was not killed. He was spared. That was something that Han had no recollection of at all. And now he just got a message saying that Madara Uchiha was alive. That brought a memory to his mind of Madara trying to subdue them in the past. Him and his mentor Miu. He clenched his fist in rage. If this was true, this was bad. Really bad, he thought to himself. At Kiri, the Mizukage also got the letter as well. As she read over it, the name Madara Uchiha sent a shiver down her spine. A man like that, he was supposed to be dead for years now. How could he be alive? At the Sangara received the same letter, and that was frightening to him. Knowing that a man of that caliber, a man who had fought the god of Shinobi himself, 2 beings that had rearranged landscape, was alive. This was a frightening thought. Time skip. At Konoha, Snethy Senju was just regaining consciousness. As her body was being tended to by the giant slug that was over her, Snethy pulled herself up. I'm almost done, Snethy-sama. The slug told her. She still had the diamond on her forehead. She had used up much of her chakra, but she still had enough to keep herself awake. She couldn't afford to be unconscious. At a time like this, Konoha was once again attacked by a destructive force, a violent, terrible force. She saw him with her own eyes. He was just as a legend described him. An unstoppable force of destruction. He came in an attack. He killed. He destroyed. Mito had tried to stop him, but she stood no chance. She pushed him out of the village. They tried to attack him out there, but he was just so strong. She went toe-to-toe with him, but he summoned that monstrosity of his. She was knocked out. As her bones had been broken, every single one of them in her body. However, her natural healing along with Katsuya healing her and all the damaging people. She pulled herself up. Konoha was still not completely destroyed. Just an arc of destruction along the west gate coming in. But Mito was captured. That was the last thing she saw before the hand of Susanoo came down on her and broke her bones. She cursed as she looked around, seeing her ninjas regrouping. Damn it. Twice now Konoha had been attacked by a single person and had turned into mayhem. Just what the hell is going on, she thought. She cursed in her mind, worrying about Mito. Meanwhile, Mito was lying unconscious inside of Obito Kamui dimension. She was not the only one though. Yujito and Killer Bee was in there as well. None of them having any way of getting out. Inside of Mito's mindscape, the fox was awake. He had tried to help her in the battle. He gave her as much shock as he could. However, that man was a force to be reckoned with back in the past and even now. As much as he did not like humans, he hated Madara more than any other human to ever walk this earth. So he tried to help the girl, but she failed. She could not win. Slowly but surely he saw the girl body in front of the cage. She was lying there. Kurama looked at her. The words then came to his mind that boy had told him. She's never disrespected you. You might hate humans, but she's not just any human. Kurama did not care for certain things. In fact, he would not even bat her eye at smashing countless people with his tail. But even he could hear it in that boy's tone. Those blasted Uchihas, even though they had left Konoha and run away. That one, he deeply cared for his container. He could hear it in his tone. Stupid love. Kurama did not give one crap about that though. Love was a stupid human emotion. As he looked down towards the unconscious girl. He had spoken to her on several occasions while she was on her training trip. While she tried to speak to him, trying to get him to work with her. At the time he scoffed in her face, telling her to get the hell out. She could ask for his power and he would give it to her after all. He wanted freedom. Yes, of course. And the more she uses power, the more the seal get weakened. But how dare she believe that he would ever work with someone like her? However, two things were changed in his mind. Something that she said to him on the training trip. Flashback. Mito was in her mindscape as she looked towards the fox. You know, I don't know why you're so grumpy all the time. Well, I guess I know. I guess being trapped in here is awful, huh? I guess I wouldn't want to be trapped behind bars. I guess you've had a real sucky life as well. Just like me. Kurama was not even dignifying her with a response, as he did not even look her way. He noticed she had went quiet. You know, this entire time, I never really thought about you as someone. Kurama wanted to growl, but he remained quiet. It sounds disrespectful and I know, but it's just, you're a beast of chakra. A beast of power. And I always thought that you did not have feelings. But then I realized something. You get angry. And anger is an emotion. So that means you must have feelings. And I've been disregarding those from day one. Not that you've made it any easier for me though. With always glaring and barking at me like some kind of animal myself. But I guess the both of us are to blame here. I did not ask for you to be stuck here. And you did not ask to be stuck here either. But one day, I'll break through that shell of yours. So we can have an actual conversation. As maybe friends. At the time the fox scoffed. As Mito had left the mindscape. As she had just realized that she did not take the fox feelings into consideration. Because she never thought he had feelings, but he did have anger, so he must have feelings. In the flashback, Kurama looked down towards a girl who was still unconscious. Madara has used his Rinnegan to keep her subdued. Kurama stretched out his tail, all 9 of them, before he plunged them into the earth, rather violently. Chakra spread out as a crack, causing the hole that Madara had over her in her mind to shatter. But not in the outside world though, she was still unconscious. Mito's eyes snapped open as she flipped up in a fighting stance, ready to throw down. However, she realized, What am I doing in here? She said. I gotta leave. As she closed her eyes. However, it was not working. She tried to close her eyes once again and squint. But it was not working. It didn't matter what she did, it was not working. Why couldn't she leave? She snapped her gaze towards the fox. What is going on? What happened to me? Those damn eyes of his. He shut your body down on the outside world. What? So, I'm stuck? Yes, basically, he said. So I lost. Is Konoha? Your stupid village is fine. All he wanted was you. Oh, I see. She dropped her knees. Damn it, she cursed. She tried to fight him. But even in her sage mode, as she was getting the upper hand, he simply got stronger. He was far stronger than Pain, even with those eyes. He was on a completely other level. And she could not win. And now she was taken. She realized that she was going to die. It brought tears to her eyes. The first thought that popped in her head was Naruto. She never told him how she felt about him. What she had learned after her trip. She never got to tell him. And she will die with that regret. Such a big regret. She lowered her head in shame and disappointment. She then glanced towards the fox. Hey, I'm sorry that I got you caught up in this. I'm sorry that I wasn't strong enough, even with your chakra, to defeat that bastard. She said as she walked towards the corner and plopped down. She didn't know why, but she could feel it. She could feel her body, unresponsive to her in the outside world. She was screwed. The fox looked at her and remained quiet, as he just watched her. There were several things that could be used to get her out of here, but in this dimension, she could not be summoned out of it. Not even by the toads. Even if that could happen, Madara blocked on her. It stopped anything from summoning her from this place. So she was screwed. She could feel all of that now that she sat down and tried to understand her predicament. Come here. She looked towards the fox. What? I said come here. And remove this blasted seal. She got to her feet. I guess I can give you your freedom, but you're gonna have to run away the moment you get free. We have no idea what the Akatsuki members are planning, but I doubt it's anything good. So run away and hide somewhere far, so that no one can ever see you again, said Mito, looking up towards him, as her heart was slowly breaking on the inside. The fox looked at her surprised. He had not even said what he wanted to do, and she was willing to free him so he can run away, despite her state of death. However, he too could feel what she feel. They were not in the elemental nation at the moment. They were somewhere that not even he could escape. He knew the moment he recognized the area that they were screwed. She could not be reverse summoned out of here. Her link to the outside world was cut, and she knew that pretty quickly. She was one to always fight, but there was nothing to fight here. Unless... No, he said. What do you mean no? I'm giving you a chance to run. You're going to fight this. I thought you never give up. A grin came on her face, one of sadness though. You're right, I don't. But even I can see that there's no way out of this situation. Can't you feel it? She asks. I can. However, you say before, even with my power you fail. But you are wrong. You do not know what the true testament of my power is. That is why. You're going to open the seal, and I will give you my true power, and then you will break out of this stupid hole that he has on you. And we will find a way out of wherever we are. I won't allow Madara Uchiha to succeed with his plans, even if it means teaming up with someone like you. That brought a smile to her face. You know, you could just say you want to be friends. He growled at her. Alright, she said. So how do we do this? Meanwhile, Naruto and Sasuke stood in a giant room where the Gedo statue was. As Naruto was releasing the tail pieces and sealing them inside of the Gedo statue in front of him, one after another, the doors to the massive room burst open though. As they turned, he told Gurren that they should not be disturbed. Gurren, what did I... It's Konoha, she said, cutting him off. It's been attacked. What? And they say the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has been taken. Sasuke's eyes widened at that. Mito, he said, as he turned towards Naruto, whose face went completely blank, as he stopped what he was doing after the fourth tail had been sealed away inside the Gedo statue. As he turned his back, as he started to walk, Sasuke walking out as well. Where are you guys going? To Konoha, said Naruto. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below and turn on that bell notification stay posted. But I'm out for now, see you guys soon. Peace.